Hello and welcome to my channel. I've set up on a beach today. It's really tranquil, as you can see. It was an overcast day, not a lot going on in the sky, but it was peaceful and the waves were just rolling in. So enjoy them in the background as we get going. I decided for this plein air sketch to go directly in with my paintbrush. So there's no preliminary drawing, no pencil to be seen, just straight in with the brush. So I'm mixing quite a juicy dark wash there with Ultramarine and Van Dyck brown. And I started by laying in the rocks, just noting where they were on the page. I wasn't measuring, I was doing it by eyeball, I suppose. That's some Cobalt, Turquoise and buff titanium. So I laid in where I think the rocks are going, and then I put the horizon in and lying in the sea. Just varying the wash a bit, a little bit more Cobalt turquoise as we come to the foreground. It's a little greyer in the distance on the horizon itself. And this will be the water washing up the beach. And again, that's a little bit more Cobalt turquoise. And that's a wave. I'm going to preserve a bit of the white there as well. One of the things when I'm out plein air painting and I haven't made a sketch is I might run out of a bit of paper, and it did get wedged in the bottom a bit there, but never mind, I kept on going. I like the directness and excitement of the direct brush drawing. So now I'm going into the far distant islands, which will give me some atmospheric perspective and give a sense of space within the page. And I have darkened up the horizon a little bit, but it's still fairly cool and grey. Bit of lavender, bit of cobalt teal, a bit of cerulean, and a bit of jaune brilliant. That's a great cocktail to go into the sky. That's a little bit of cerulean. Again, I'm not going to put in a blue sky or anything like that because it didn't fit the moment, it didn't fit the day. Everything was fairly neutral, fairly quiet, and we don't want any jarring colour all of a sudden to leap out. We've got the tranquil sort of rhythmic roll of the ocean. There was no wind blowing, just a couple of people on the beach. It was very peaceful. So I'm making up a dark juicy wash, which was Van Dyck brown, ultramarine, and I think a bit of Prussian as well, or a bit of mineral violet. It's pretty much my darkest dark. So I'm putting in, and the rocks are very solid, heavy, immovable against this fluid motion of the ocean. So I want to get that feeling of solidity within the rocks themselves. And they're not just dark, monotone, one colour brown. There's actually variation within there. There's a sort of warmer brown, slightly dark brown, so I put that in as well. And you'll see I just put a bit of buff titanium into that because the light does hit the rocks as well, and that creates form. So again, I've changed the mix a little bit. It's a little bit grayer, a little bit lighter. And I'm just drawing in the shape of the headland there, the headland rock. I'm working pretty fast and I don't sit back and think about it. I'm very intuitive when I'm out. And the way I've sat it, the whole composition on the page, I think was a little bit squashed with in the foreground, but I've got more sky and water than I've got rocks, so I've got a slight asymmetrical thing going on, which I quite like. It wasn't like half of it was rocks and half of it was ocean. I'm trying to get a little bit of unbalanced composition going on. And now I'm putting in the beach. The darker is where the water has run over the sand and makes it wet. Cobalt turquoise, a real prominent player in this sketch. Slightly darker underneath the rocks because they're casting a slight sort of, there's a bit of shadow going on there as the water's jutting up right next to the rocks. Okay, and this is the wave. I did really want to get a wave breaking to give that sense of movement to the rhythmical sound that I'm hearing. I wanted to convey that the waves were rolling in a little bit. And all that forward area of ocean is darker and there's more greeny colours going on and it's a little bit more dynamic. Putting in some more darker indentations for the rocks. Sort of drawing in a bit of the texture and the way the cracks in the rocks are running to give it some form. So ultramarine blue, Van Dyke brown is a favourite here. And give them the solidity that I want in against that grey, ethereal kind of ocean that's going on. So you've got some differences happening. And then some lighter areas where the light's hitting the top of the rocks. Constantly looking and checking and re-evaluating as I'm going. And a few rocks out into the ocean, and then some foreground rocks. So I've got quite a big gap with my values going on. I've got the heavy dark rocks value and the lighter ocean value. So that's quite a big difference there as well. If you had that on a value scale, they'd be quite far apart. But that's how it was, and that creates that feeling of light coming off the water. So I'm sort of emphasising that, really, the difference between the water and the rock. That's what this whole sketch was ending up to be about. And now I just draw in some of the lines that denote how the wave, drawing as if it was a pencil, really, with the tip of the brush. Just washing in a little bit of lavender and a bit of buff titanium, tiny bit of cerulean and a bit of cobalt blue. I just felt these islands needed to stand out a little bit more. Their value was a bit too light, so I just reintroduced a bit more distinction there. But I'm really enjoying it. As I say, there was no wind, it was all really peaceful, everything was tranquil, and I had a really great time. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Get out there and paint, it's such fun. See you next time.